The labels people gave you: failure, not enough, the one who always struggles, those aren't just affecting you anymore. They're affecting everyone you're leading, your kids, your team, your audience, everyone who's watching you. And here's what most people don't realize. There's a forgotten story in Genesis about a father who broke a generational curse with a single act of renaming. And it reveals the secret to true influence. Today, I'm going to show you why your breakthrough isn't just about you, and how receiving your new identity is the prerequisite for changing the people around you, because you can't give what you haven't received. We all grew up receiving names that weren't ours, not just literal names, but labels, spoken and unspoken. You're just like your father, the alcoholic one, or you never finish anything. You're too sensitive. You'll never amount to much. And these labels, they become the lens through which we see ourselves. They become the filter for every decision, every opportunity, every risk. And here's what most people miss: you can't outperform your identity. You can hustle, you can grind, you can work yourself into exhaustion, but if deep down you still believe that you're the kid who just isn't enough, then you'll sabotage the very success that you're chasing. Even when you achieve something, that old voice plays in your head. Who do you think you are? You're gonna mess this up eventually. You're just faking it. You're hustling to prove the old label wrong, but you're still operating from that label. And exhaustion is a result. But here's where it gets even more serious. Those labels don't just limit you, they leak onto everyone you touch. Let me tell you a story that most people skim past in the Bible. It's Genesis chapter 35. Rachel is dying in childbirth. She's in agony. She knows she's not going to make it. And in her final breath, she names her son and she calls him Ben-Ani, which literally means son of my sorrow, son of my trouble. Think about that for a second. Like a mother in her deepest pain assigns her trauma as her child's identity. Not out of malice, not because she didn't love him, but because of where she was living internally. Her pain became his name. And we do the exact same thing. When we haven't dealt with our own wounds, when we're still carrying the labels people gave us, we unconsciously name others from our pain. The entrepreneur who calls his team unreliable because his father abandoned him, or the parent who labels their kid difficult because that child triggers an unhealed part of them. Or maybe the leader who sees people as obstacles because they're still fighting their own internal battle. Your influence, whether you're a parent, a boss, a content creator, a friend, your influence flows from your internal world. And hurt people name from hurt. Frustrated people assign frustration. Anxious people project anxiety. You cannot lead people into freedom that you haven't walked into yourself. You can't call out greatness in others when you're still living in not enough yourself. But thank God the story doesn't end with Rachel's label, because Jacob, her husband, steps in, and now Jacob had his own history with names. His name literally meant deceiver, manipulator, the one who grabs and takes from others. And he lived up to it for years, deceiving his father, stealing his brother's blessing, running for his life. But then God met him, and God renamed him, not Jacob anymore, but Israel, prince with God, one who wrestles with God and prevails. And that naming, it broke something internally. It shifted how Jacob, now Israel, saw himself. So when Rachel names this baby, son of my sorrow, Israel overrides it. He says, no, his name is Benjamin, son of my right hand, son of favor, son of strength. Israel could only do this though because he'd received his own renaming from God. He knew what it was like to be called deceiver and then hear God call him a prince. When God renamed him, it gave him authority to speak destiny over his son instead of trauma. You see the pattern? God renamed Jacob. Jacob, now Israel, renamed Benjamin. Benjamin became a leader of a tribe. Your transformation unlocks their transformation. Your breakthrough becomes their inheritance. This is why your identity work isn't selfish. It's good leadership. When you let God rename you, when you stop living from the old labels and step into who He says you are, you gain the authority to speak life over others. You shift from naming people out of frustration to calling out their potential, from seeing obstacles to seeing co-creators, from projecting fear to releasing faith. The people around you, they're gonna feel it. Your kids stop hearing, "You're just like me," in a defeated way, and start hearing, "You're destined for greatness." Your team stops feeling like disappointments and starts rising to the vision that you see in them. Your audience stops hearing motivation and starts experiencing transformation. Because you're no longer speaking from your wound, you're speaking from your identity. Now, how do you actually do this? Well, I'll give you 3 quick movements. First, receive your new name. Stop arguing with God about who He says you are. If He calls you beloved, that's not motivational talk. If He calls you chosen, that's not wishful thinking. If He calls you equipped, that's not hype. Look, this is your identity. Let it sink past your logic into your belief system. Now ask yourself right now, what has God been calling me that I haven't accepted yet? And then second, renounce the old labels. You have to actively reject the old name to fully step into the new one. So literally speak it out. I am not the failure. That was a lie that I believed. I am the overcomer. I'm not the one who never finishes. That was a story that I used to accept. I am the one who sees God complete what He started in me. I am not too much or not enough. I am exactly who God designed me to be. Say it out loud, write it down, and make it real. And finally, start naming others from vision, not from pain. Look at the people in your life, your kids, your team, your audience. What are you calling them? What labels are you assigning, consciously or unconsciously? Are you naming them Ben-Ani or Benjamin? Son of your sorrow or son of your strength? Start speaking their Benjamin name. Call them who they're becoming, not who they've been. Israel's one act of renaming didn't just save Benjamin. It shaped an entire tribe, and your influence compounds. The people that you rename will rename others. The labels you're carrying aren't just your burden. They're limiting everyone around you. But the new identity that God's given you, look, that's not just your breakthrough. It's theirs too. So here's what I want you to do right now. Comment below and tell me, what's one old label that you're renouncing today? And what's the new identity that you're stepping into? Go ahead and type it out in the comments, because when you speak it, listen, power is released, and that power can change everyone around you. I'll see you in the comments.